Hello guys, welcome to the video. So in this one, we're gonna do something very simple. We just need to set up sort of a testing ground with a simple road and something around the road. Because we want to test the movement system on the enemies, I want to explain how it's going to work. And for that, we need to have something to work with. Later on, this is just, a disclaimer. Later on, we're gonna have a level creation system, and this is gonna be tile-based. That's why we have tiles over here. But as of now, we don't need that much because this system is going to be a little bit complicated. So I want to talk about this later in the course. And now I just need something simple. That's why we're not going to use tiles. Now we're going to take 3D cube. I'm going to name it as road. And then I'm going to make another 3D cube. And I'm going to name it as field. Now let's go to materials. We're going to select road and we're going to take this tile material 1 and drag it over here. Now it looks like that. And also we want to take field over here, take this material, drag it to the inspector, and now it's going to look like that. If you wonder how do I move the objects or rotate them, you can see hotkeys on the screen. Or you can go back to the crash course section, and there I have a video that explains tools and windows we use in Unity. Okay, now the goal is to make a simple level. I'm going to quickly explain how it's going to look, approximately. We're just going to switch orientation over here, then we click on the Y so we can see everything from the top. My idea is to make somewhat of a twisted road like that. We're going to have a starting point here and finish point over here. I need it like that so I can see how enemy moves along the road, if it's one enemy or multiple enemies, how it deals with corners, how it deals with the rotation, anything like that. We just need to test the movement as much as we can. That's why I'm going to have this type of a road. If you like, you can create another road. You just, make it somewhat interesting with multiple corners. Now, how do we gonna make it? First, I want to disable this field. I want to take this road cube and I'm gonna stretch it. Just a disclaimer, as I said before, we're gonna have a tile system for levels where we're gonna have multiple cubes like that placed one after another. But creating them manually is a really big headache. That's why I want to do script that will create level for us. But again, that's gonna come later, and now we still need something to test behavior of the enemies and towers. That's why we're gonna just stretch the cube. Let's take this element over here, and let's say we're gonna make it 5 on the X, just like that. This is good enough. Now we're gonna place it at maybe 0, 0, 0, like that. Let me focus on it. And after that, I want to duplicate this cube. Let me duplicate it by pressing Ctrl D. And now I'm going to take the duplicate and move it to the left. So position going to be -5 on the X. Then I want to duplicate another one, move it up. And if you hold Ctrl while you're moving the object, it's going to move the object by even number, like that. As you can see, it sort of snaps the object to the grid, which is just what we need. Now I want to rotate it, and again, I'm going to hold the Ctrl to do the rotation, so it's pretty. And let's place it next to another one, like that. Yeah, looks pretty. If you wonder what is the position and rotation for the object, you can see it over here in the transform. And again, you don't have to repeat my level, you can do yours. Now I'm going to duplicate it again, move it to the left, then I'm going to press E and I'm going to rotate it like that. Let's see, how can I place it? Like this is fine. Then let me duplicate another one. This one maybe I want to apply some sort of an interesting twist, that's why I'm going to place it like this and like this. Now let me take this tile over here, I'm going to duplicate it and move it to the left like so. And then I want to duplicate this one and move it up like so. Okay, just one to another. So yeah, this seems pretty much okay. I kind of like it. We have a starting point and finish point going to be over here. And it's somewhat of an interesting shape. What do you think? Now, because of the URP and because of the settings over here on a global volume, level is a little bit shiny. We're gonna talk about shininess and bloom effect later on. As of now, let's go to the threshold and let's increase the value. So not everything can shine in the game. I'm gonna do maybe 2 as a threshold. Now it's a bit easier to look at. Nice. Now let's take these roads and let's create an empty parent for them. Gonna name it as road holder. I think the name is fine. Next step would be to place something around the road. Even though it's not that necessary, I want to have some fields there, because later on we're gonna place towers on these fields. Let's enable the field. Let's reset everything on the transform. And then we need to hold Control, move it here, and I would like to fill up area inside of the road and around it. We can do the top-down view again, and orientation can be changed as well. Now let's zoom out with a wheel on the mouse, and let's maybe just stretch it. You can hold Control as well to stretch it like that. Then we can select it, duplicate it, move up, then select that transformation tool with a T, the rect tool, then hold Control and just drag it like that. Really nice. Really nice to do it like that. I like it, feels nice. I can see some numbers are not exactly perfect. It's a bit uneven for some reason. So let's just round them up. This one should be 4, I'm gonna do that. And this one should be -9, so I'm gonna do that. Let me take a close look at this. Is it correct? Oh my. Okay, I'm sorry. It should be 0 on the Y. Okay, this looks good to me. Let's do top-down view again. Let's take another field, move it over here, like that. Then let's press T and reduce the size to something like this. Then I want to take this tile, duplicate it, move it down, stretch it a bit. And you can see I'm going a little bit faster, but that's only because you already know what to press. Let me move it here. Stretch it like that. I think I like it. Should be 1 on the X. Then let's duplicate this, move it here, and last one would be over here. So I'm gonna just maybe duplicate this element, move it to the left, press T, bring it up, and bring it to the right. Now, when we go out of our orientation view, this level gonna be funny on the Y at some places. So we have to select them all and do Y0. Let's select fields in the hierarchy over here, and let's just do 0 for the Y, for all of them. This is good. Now we've got somewhat of a level. Before we finish this, I want to take all of the road elements, go to Y position, and do -0.1 on the Y. Now it will give it a bit of a dimensional look, and it's easier to see and understand what is happening. Lastly, we can take these fields, wrap them into a parent, like that, and let's name it as field holder. Okay, now we can close this, and probably it would be a good idea to create empty parent for both of them and name it as maybe just a level ground or something like that. Yeah, cool, love it. Something else here is the enemy. Let's place one enemy on the level. We're assuming that starting point going to be over here, so I'm gonna go to the meshes of enemies. There is this basic enemy. We can just drag it on the level like that, and it will be placed on the top of the road. Now let's do prefab, unpack completely, so we can do changes to this object, like that. And rotation is not that important, it's gonna rotate itself when it moves. We just need to create an empty parent for this object, because it is a good idea to have visuals as a child of a game object. Let's create empty parent. I'm gonna name it as enemy basic. So if you have it like that, you can have main functionality on the main game object. For example, movement, collision, or some other important things. And if you want to do some changes to the visuals, maybe like vertical rotation or anything like that, you can do it to the child object without affecting movement and rotation of the parent object. Yeah, because look, it's going to be important later on. When object moves, it's also going to rotate like that. There may be a reason where we need to do something else with the rotation, and at the same time we don't want to interrupt movement and rotation of the object entirely. And if that's the case, then we can just rotate the visuals to make illusion that object is rotating, but in reality we're gonna rotate only visuals. Alright, if that's confusing you, I'm very sorry. I just want to say that it's very good when you have visuals as a separate game object because you have more control of the game object. Okay, let's do rotation 0 on the Y. Let's do 0 over here. Then let's go to the basic enemy. Let's open this. And over here we have basic enemy mesh. And also we have wheels like that. By the way, I'm rotating around the game object by holding Alt and using left mouse button. That's how you rotate around the object. Now let's go to materials. And over here we have main material. This one is connected to the texture that we use for all of the objects. This texture is over here. And that's why if you just take the material and drag it on the basic enemy like that, it's going to become colorful and it's going to look the same way as it was designed. Also, we have emission over here inside of this enemy. So we can take emission blue and drag emission blue material like that. If you want to change color of the emission, you can do that by dragging different material. But I think we're going to use the one that was here by default. Now let's take wheels and drag material on them as well. Main material. Now enemy is colorful and pretty. It is ready to attack. And we're going to talk about movement of this enemy in the next video. Alright? I'll see you there.